Laundry is done. Let's see. Oh, what the heck? This thing's dripping wet. What's wrong with the washing machine? It's not draining the water. We have VCF Midwest coming up next weekend. I have to get this working so I can wash my nerd shirts. On this episode of Dr. Dave's Divergence, we're going to see if we can fix this Sears Kenmore washing machine so that I can wash my clothes in time for the festival. Stick around. Hi, this is Dave. As you can see, unusually, instead of in my basement, I'm out here in the beautiful summertime, and I've pretty much taken the whole summertime off from making videos. It wasn't my plan, it's just I was able to get outside and see friends in real life, and that's how I prioritize things lately. But it doesn't mean I haven't been doing projects, and I've got one of those for you today. Let's do a little catch up on the channel. First and foremost, VCF Midwest is coming up this coming weekend in the Chicago area. I'm going to be there. I'm looking forward to meeting people there. So I will be wearing one of my black nerd shirt t-shirts, either Fran Lab or this one, Trace Route. So say hello if you're there. And I'm looking forward to meeting some other YouTubers and stuff at the festival. Other than that, a little update on my project with Frank of Frank's 3D shop. Frank did a wonderful job of doing a revision of our Amiga to Mac floppy interface that I mentioned to you before, and he's got what we're calling the final version of it done. So I'm going to be getting those to a couple people soon to test out the documentation and make sure it's clear. We made it clear how to use it with the pieces of software that it can work with and the pieces of hardware that it can work with. So look forward to that. And here's a little glimpse of the latest stuff that Frank put out. Other than that, I picked up a couple of nice machines. One of them I visited where I work in the Boston area, and I had an old laptop there that I dumped a curry into the keyboard once accidentally, and that caused it not to work. So maybe we'll repair that laptop in an upcoming episode. Also, one of the things that I did as well was a good friend of mine, a musician, had an old Power Mac G4 that's the case, the nice looking clear case computer, and I never had one of those. I wasn't paying attention to Power Macs at the time, but he offered to give that to me because he wasn't using it anymore. So it's compatible with MorphOS, and I should be able to run some Amiga stuff on there. So look forward to that. So this time what's going on is we discovered that our washing machine it just stopped dumping all the water out of it. The cycle would run, and after the final spin there'd still be a bunch of dirty water down in the tank. And so I did some troubleshooting. It's a Sears Kenmore from 2002, according to the dates on some of the parts in it. And it was bought by the previous owners, and that's how I acquired it. Anyway, looks like it should be pretty simple. That's usually a simple problem. It usually means that the outlet from the tank or the tub is plugged somehow, or the motor is just going out in the pump, or the pump is somehow blocked or damaged somehow. So we're going to get a new pump and replace that. The first thing I found, though, is the pump that was actually the exact model of that pump for this Kenmore washer was not immediately available. It said it would take until mid-September to get it, and that's after VCF Midwest. It's way longer than we wanted to wait. So I ordered a similar looking pump that was cheaper and available immediately, and got it delivered at home in just a couple of days. So what we'll do is I'll show you what the old pump was doing and what it sounded like, and then we'll switch to hopefully installing the new pump. And at the end, I'll take apart the old pump, and we'll see what we can see there. So here's future Dave in post. This particular model of Sears Kenmore front-loading washer has a really convenient feature that this lower panel here, if you just remove 2 screws from the front at the bottom, it drops out, and you have immediate access to service the drain pump. So that's what I did, and we'll pick it up from there. So in this Kenmore washer, it has this pump to empty the tumbler tank, and that's what's failing. It seems like it just doesn't pump enough, and so we're always left with water at the end. But it does still pump. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hook up. It's just an AC pump that's powered by those those leads right there. I'm going to use a couple alligator clips and connect it to the prongs on a AC outlet and run the pump and see if I can get all that water out of there, so that when I take these clamps off and take the pump out to replace with the new one here, that there won't be any water, or won't be much water in there, because it'll make a huge mess if I open it up now, because there's gallons, I think, of water in there that I would have to get up with a shop vac or lift this thing way up so that the water could drain out underneath. So the new pump's a little different than the old one. The outlet's on the other side, but looking at the way this is structured, I think I can just take that hose and put it around to the other side. That's the plan. But we'll see how it goes. Alligator clip leads on the two AC power inputs to the motor. I've got them clipped dangerously on these test leads, and one of the test leads in the AC outlet and the other one here. So we're just going to power up the motor and see if we can get it to pump the remains of the water out. Pump couldn't get all the water out. I've used the pliers to pull back this retainer, and slowly I'm pulling this off and letting the water drain into this pan I have here. And I've got it tipped up on it's on jack stands in the back, so it's high, so it's lower in the front, and I have the left side higher, so the water, if I don't have it come out too fast, well, it'll just come out this corner down into this large pan. Pump, and you can see it's the bracket for it is quite wide. I think it's 5 and some inches. It has a plastic cover on the top, presumably to protect it from water if it ever leaked there. The exit is on the left here. The inlet is there. The outlet here. The outlet faces to the left in the washer. The new motor that I couldn't find the exact replacement. The new motor, it looks like at first glance that it's oriented the other way, right? It's got the outlet on the right side, and I thought, well, I'll fit it in there that way. I can put the hose in that way. What we're going to do is just take this hose and turn it around so it's facing the other way. The old pump, and it has a bracket that is longer or wider than the one that came with the new one. But I noticed that in the bottom of the washer, there's 2 sets of mounting holes. The old ones were these ones here, but it turns out the new bracket that came with the new pump fits across these other 2 here. So it looks like this is maybe designed to take either of these pumps. So that's cool. I don't have to drill any new holes. I just mount the new pump over here. And I still need to turn this around the other direction, but that shouldn't be too hard. Famous suspected, it was really easy to get this hose to route the other way and face the other direction. One of the funny things is, when I was moving it around, this metal stay from a men's dress shirt collar fell out of this hose, which is the outlet of the pump. So somehow that stay made it through the pump and out the other side. It's been in there for mounting the motor in there. It has these rubber bushings, and this has got a screw. It's got one on the top and one on the bottom, and it's presumably just sound and vibration dampening. So pretty easy. So I have the new pump in there. I had to position it even further over though to get this hose to fit. So what I did is I found in my junk box, I found a screw that fit in that hole there. And over here, for some reason, there was an existing kind of post, some screw just sticking out from the base of this. I don't know what it was for. I don't think anything was mounted to it before, but I managed to find a nut that fit on there. So it's using the existing bushing there, using the existing bushing over here, and an extra one underneath because that was a little
thicker there, but it seems to be, it can move a little bit, but it doesn't seem like it's going to make a vibrating noise. This is really tight over here, so I'm going to wrap some, put some electrical tape around this part. Just, it's not touching the outside now, but if it ever did, I want to keep it away from, you know, the exterior of the washer, so that when this vibrates, it won't cause abrasions in the insulation on the wires. But I think we're ready to test it out.
So this is Dave of the Future here. I realized in short order that just taping the wires back to try to keep them away from the chassis of the washer was substandard. So what I decided to do is basically treat it like I would an engine compartment. Done a lot of work on my car where the first repair I did didn't work so well because of abrasions. One time I had the power steering fluid hose wear through and spray power steering fluid everywhere. I've moved the battery to the other parts of the engine compartment because I needed the room for a blower in my Trans Am. And so I've learned a lot of things about, you got to look for every place there could be an abrasion and guard against it somehow. So in this photo you see I used wire ties or zip ties instead, and I did two things here. I used the zip tie to keep the wire harness in place near the pump, and also keep it up and away from touching other things, including that exit hose for the water from the drain pump. And then in this photo you can see, looking back along that wiring harness, how it's a little bit hard to tell, but it's held up higher by those wire ties to keep them out of the way. And then in the middle right there you see one of those pistons that isolates the tumbling barrel for the washer, and that thing jostles up and down like crazy. That would be a high point of abrasion. So we have to keep the wiring harness and anything, including the drain hose, away from that. So in this last photo you can see this loop black plastic zip tie that I went through a couple of holes in the chassis and the bottom of the washer and pulled that drain hose away from the piston and other things, because it's in a much different position it was before. So of course it's my responsibility to make sure that it doesn't wear. This is completely untested, right? A different motor than is usually in there, the hose on a different side. This isn't the way that it was designed to be. So extra careful to make sure that there's no abrasions in those parts.
Now I'm going to do a short wash, just with no soap and stuff, and just a couple towels and things in there. So pouring all that water in that it wasn't getting out at the end before, and then rinse, it should switch to final spin.
So future Dave again here. Things look good. The washing machine's up and running. And what I didn't show in the video is that there is an envelope attached to the left inside of the chassis of the washer with the schematic and things. So what I decided to do is wrote up a little note to people of the future explaining what I did here, because the old motor's not, or the old pump's not in there, so that model number's not available to someone that's trying to repair it in the future. And so I just thought also, and even if it's me, my memory isn't as good as it used to be, so I basically explained what I did and said what I replaced it with and why there's a different motor in there. Here we have the old motor from the washing machine, and let's take it apart and see what's going on with it. So this is the old bracket that held it to the bottom of the washing machine's chassis. I used the new one, which was shorter. So So there were the two rubber bushings or whatever that held that on the bottom to isolate it. So here's the inlet, and then water would come out the outlet here, and this rubber flap closes to keep water from the exits to the sewer side from coming back in. And just see a couple screws here. I don't know if this is going to come apart. Let's see if we can figure out what's going on there. There are those. Looks like there's a couple snaps of some sort on there. All right, well, there's the impeller, and I don't see anything in there. So I was wondering if there was just going to be some physical obstruction that had gotten in there and either was still lodged in there or caused part of it to break. This is spinning a little weirdly, but that's just because the strong magnet on it. Let's see if we can open the motor and see if there's something in that part. And for that, I'll need I guess a flathead screwdriver. There's one right here. I decided not to try to service this because I thought, there's a gasket on here and stuff, and I didn't want my servicing attempt to have caused a leak. So that's why I decided to go ahead and buy the new pump before I even opened this one up. Looks like this whole black cover is going to come off this way. Don't see really anything amiss there. Yeah, I don't know. Don't see anything really visibly wrong with it. It just wouldn't pump. So I'm at a loss as to why it wasn't working right. Well, that's it. Successful repair of that washing machine, and I learned a lot. I think it's pretty neat how that mechanism works inside, and it was neat to be able to see how it worked. And $22 in parts and many hours of my time, but gave me a glimpse of how to do that. So. You folks take care. I'll see you at VCF Midwest if you're there this coming weekend, and otherwise, see you next time.